Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori just took place as the main event of UFC Fight Night Vegas 41, Costa versus Vettori, and what an amazing fight this was. I still have a buzz up and down my spine right now, and I won't be sleeping tonight because that was a 5-round war, back and forth, every single round. I know some people may say, wow, what a war that fight was, but no, this one was every single round, non-stop trading. I think they broke a strike record outside of Max Holloway bouts. I think ESPN put up a post saying that basically they have number 4 most strikes landed in a 5-round fight ever in UFC history. Other than that, Max Holloway owns 3, 2, and 1. I believe Holloway versus Poirier 2 is number 3. Holloway versus Ortega. Holloway versus, of course, Calvin Kattar. That was a really bad one. But still, at middleweight, they're doing this, okay? Holloway is a featherweight, and they are breaking records for strikes landed. Not even at middleweight, sorry. At light heavyweight, the pace that was set in this fight, I feel like this is one of the greatest arguments as to why there should not be weight cutting in MMA, because watching these two middleweights fight around their more natural weight class, they went to war. They had the performance of their careers. Marvin Vettori got the job done, of course. He won the fight by, I think, 48-46 unanimous decision. Of course, there was a point deduction, which I don't believe should have been deducted. I know people are going to call out Paulo Costa and say, ha, you lost. And there's going to be a lot of anti-Paulo Costa rhetoric right now online, and everyone's going to be going after Paulo Costa. But man, I feel bad for him because that point deduction, he eye-poked Marvin Vettori once. Okay, and fair play, there may have been a warning beforehand, but he never eye-poked Marvin Vettori beforehand in the fight. That was the first time he eye-poked Vettori, and a point got deducted straight away. But other than that point being deducted, Marvin Vettori still would have won this fight, 48-47, and he definitely won this fight. But I will tell you this, it was a razor-close fight, and I'll tell you this as well. Marvin Vettori, in my opinion, only won this fight because he is made out of granite. I don't see anyone finishing Marvin Vettori at any point in his entire career until he's about 35 and done with the sport. No one will finish this man. He cannot be rocked. He cannot be KO'd. He won't get submitted. Maybe at some point someone will jump into a leg lock. Maybe Ryan Hall at some point moves up to the middleweight division, catches him in a bit of a leg lock. Who knows? No one is finishing Marvin Vettori at all. I don't know how many times Paulo Costa landed fight-ending blows on Marvin Vettori. Now, I understand Paulo Costa is not a big power puncher. He uses volume, but he has got power in his hands, and he is a bigger Paulo Costa than ever before. This is the biggest Paulo Costa I've ever seen. He was about 220 pounds out there. He had a massive size advantage over Marvin Vettori. I feel like about 15 pounds of weight he had over Marvin Vettori. The only reason Vettori won this fight, in my opinion, is because he didn't react whatsoever to any of the amazing punches and kicks that Paulo Costa was landing on him. I mean, not just the chin. I'm not just talking about the chin of Marvin Vettori. I'm talking about the body. I have never seen that many fight-ending body kicks landed in a fight ever in my entire life. The hooks that Paulo Costa was landing to the body of Marvin Vettori as well. But Marvin Vettori just ignores all of it. Every single shot that Paulo Costa's landing could be a fight-ending blow. Vettori is ignoring it, not just taking it and accepting it and recovering and bouncing back because he's tough. He's ignoring the existence of these blows. Crazy fight. Let's break it down round by round. Round 1 is the closest round of the fight, in my opinion, in terms of which way it could go. I don't mind the argument of Paulo Costa maybe edging round 1, other than round 5, which Paulo Costa did get one. I think he did win round 5. Round 1's the most arguable round for Paulo Costa. I thought Marvin Vettori won it because he landed way more shots. And also the difference between the two of them, as I just said, was when Paulo Costa landed a big shot on Marvin Vettori, Vettori ignored it and kept going. When Marvin Vettori landed a good jab or straight right hand on Paulo Costa would cover up against the cage, take a barrage of punches, a couple of shots in the clinch, and that's where Marvin Vettori was winning the fight. He was picking up the volume, out-voluming Paulo Costa, and when Paulo Costa got hit by a straight right hand from Vettori, he would cover up, back up against the cage, have a moment where he looked like he was kind of hurt by the shot that was landing from Marvin Vettori. However, you could argue, if this was any other fighter in the world other than the guy who is the absolute Italian tank, Marvin Vettori, that they could give that round to Paulo Costa. You want to know why? Any other fighter in the world reacts to those body kicks. They react to those hooks to the body. They react to those haymakers upstairs to the chin. Those flush head kicks I forgot about the flush head kick. Oh my god. Marvin Vettori at one point in this fight was blocking low for inside leg kicks, was blocking low for body kicks as well, and Paulo Costa whips a head kick up high, and when I say lands flush, you may be thinking, oh my god, he hit him in the face with the kick, it was a great kick. I'm not saying the face. I'm not saying the chin. The head kick that Paulo Costa landed in one of the first 2 rounds landed flush, wrapped around the back of Marvin Vettori's head. Vettori is angled away from it, so it's landing basically behind the head of Marvin Vettori, catching him entirely on the neck and the behind the ear area. And he just takes it. And if anyone else is out there and they get wobbled for a moment, or they hunch over for a moment and show that they've been hurt to the body, they might start giving those rounds to Paulo Costa. The only thing that won Vettori this fight, other than being amazing and outdoing a much bigger opponent, and we'll talk about that as well, because I do give Costa credit, but at the same time, his great performance, in my opinion, shows me that you weren't injured. You weren't ill with anything like that. You just tried to game the system and have a massive weight advantage over Vettori. And he did have a massive weight advantage over Vettori. But you can't deny Costa was doing really good stuff out there. And Vettori was just ignoring all of it and getting straight back to work. Jab, jab, 2. Body shots of his own. Body kicks of his own. A couple of leg kicks here and there of his own. But Paulo Costa was the one slamming inside leg kicks. Landing the good body kicks in the fight. I mean, I think Vettori might be the toughest guy of all time. No joke, I know Paulo Costa's not a big power puncher, as I said, but this was a big Paulo Costa, a light heavyweight Paulo Costa, and he looked so much bigger than Marvin Vettori out there. Body kicks that would crumple any man in existence, and Vettori just goes, back to the 1-1-2. Nothing going on in his brain whatsoever, ignoring everything. Amazing bout. The first round was close. I gave it to Marvin Vettori, just barely. Round 2, I thought Marvin Vettori won that round as well. Paulo Costa would have some good moments. He would land amazing shots that sound really loud and are crazy shots that could finish the fight at any moment. But then Marvin Vettori would land a couple of good shots in a row. Paulo Costa would feel them like a normal human being does that isn't named Marvin Vettori. He would feel those shots. He would cover up against a cage. He would take a couple of shots in a row around the guard. And that would make it seem like Marvin Vettori, although Costa was throwing more damaging blows, as in like pound for pound force, I reckon Costa was throwing the more powerful strikes by far. But the damage done was still in favour of Marvin Vettori, because Costa was the one busted up. He was the one covering up against a cage. He was the one getting wobbled here and there by certain shots. He was the one who got taken down in the fight and had his back taken at one point. At one moment he had Marvin Vettori on the ground, but Vettori scrambled, ended up on top at the end of the round. Won that round at the end of it on top. I mean, it was non-stop craziness. I believe round 3 is the round where Paulo Costa got the point taken away. It might have been round 2. Either way, I didn't give that round to Paulo Costa, so it would have been a win for Marvin Vettori anyway. But man, absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers fight. Non-stop back and forth. Razor close as well, but Vettori just sticks it out, gets it done, puts a jab in Paulo Costa's face, goes to the body of Paulo Costa, blasts knees to the body as well that he was doing very well. Every time he saw Paulo Costa shell up against a cage, he would just jump into a knee straight into the gut of Paulo Costa, try and land some good shots to the body there, some good body kicks of his own. I mean, that is such a good main event. Last weekend's main event was Aspen Ladd versus Norma Dumont. Stop putting women in main events, okay? I just watched Jessica Rose Clark versus Josie Ann Edwards, whatever her fucking name is. Stop putting them anywhere near the top of the card. Just a little message from me, UFC. If you're watching this long, UFC staff members, and you're looking for reactions to the fight that just happened, stop putting them in main events. This is so much better. People that can actually fight out there in the cage, throwing down, in a different weight class, at light heavyweight. And I'll tell you this, let's talk about Paulo Costa for a second. I am annoyed by him. The whole weekend was kind of proven wrong. If Paulo Costa looked terrible out there, maybe there could have been an argument that he was ill, he was injured, that's why he couldn't cut the weight. But he looked better than he's ever looked before. He had better cardio than he's ever had before in his life. You could say that's because of him not draining the weight, but I believe he was in peak condition, and he straight up just tried, and really tried to finesse Marvin Vettori by knowing that he was going to take this fight at light heavyweight, and just sort of skewering Marvin Vettori up a weight class for no reason. Vettori came into this fight knowing he was fighting at 185 pounds. He knew it. He trimmed himself down, he got into 185 pound shape, and he was ready to drain himself down to 185 pounds. Paulo Costa knew he was fighting at light heavyweight. Long before. I'm talking at the start of his camp, I believe. He wanted the advantage. He'd wanted nothing more than just to win against Marvin Vettori. And he knew that. And I think about 8 weeks ago, he said to himself, you know what? I'm coming in at light heavyweight. I'm going to weigh 220 pounds. He drained weight to make 205. I reckon he had this plan all along, and it makes me annoyed at him because it's a very scummy move. This is a Nick Diaz, Robbie Lawler move. Absolute bullshit move by absolute scum. But this one's even worse because at least Nick Diaz is an old fucker who's somewhat injured at the time as well. But there's no reason for Paulo Costa to take this fight up a weight class. But he did it anyway. But man, Paulo Costa's good. And I'll tell you this as well. He beats a lot of light heavyweights. And I did not think I would be saying that at the start of the evening. After watching Paulo Costa out there move up to light heavyweight and wreck shop on a bunch of light heavyweights, if he lands those body kicks on Nikita Krylov, you're dying. You're going to die, Nikita Krylov. Paulo Costa could genuinely maybe run light heavyweight. I don't think he would beat the top guys at light heavyweight, don't get me wrong. They hit a lot harder than Marvin Vettori, and they're a lot crazier, and they've in some ways got better pacing, and they're stronger, and they can take him down, and they're more his size. And maybe I'm just basing this on the fact that Paulo Costa beat a middleweight sized man, but this man could be a real contender in the light heavyweight division. I don't know what happens in Paulo Costa versus Dominic Reyes. I'd probably pick Paulo Costa. He has a very short reach, and that's his big problem. If Paulo Costa had 4 inches of extra reach, he might be unstoppable, in all honesty. But he's got those T-Rex arms. He's kind of limited to the middleweight division. But if he wants to move up to light heavyweight, dude, take a fight with Nikita Krylov. Beat him. Dude, Paul Craig? You aren't going to submit Paulo Costa. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's great on the ground. He has great takedown defense and scrambles. He's not Jamal Hill on the ground. You know what I mean? He's way better than Jamal Hill on the ground. And Paul Craig, a little bit chinny here and there. Dude, Costa could do well at light heavyweight. I don't know why I'm calling you dude so much. Never done that before, but this fight has put me in the spirit of it. But man, respect to Marvin Vettori. No bullshit the entire week. He came to make 185 pounds. He had a 10 to 15 pound weight disadvantage against Paulo Costa. Still, every round he pushed the pace. He got in Costa's face. He pushed him against the cage. He jabbed to him over and over and over again. The lead hooks were good from Marvin Vettori. The straight right hands just on their own were good from Marvin Vettori. The stiff jabs were good from Marvin Vettori. It was a close fight, but Marvin did more every round other than 5, in my opinion. And to be fair to Paulo Costa again, I thought he was done at the end of round 2. I thought Paulo was done at the end of round 3. I thought Paulo was done at the end of round 4. Round 5, he comes out with all the cardio in the world, swinging like a maniac on Marvin Vettori. I feel like at one point in round 5, I was thinking to myself, man, Vettori might go down here. Straight up, Paulo Costa might be able to finish Marvin Vettori in this 5th round. He is still really dangerous, but Marvin Vettori, of course, did what he needed to do. Made it a scrap still in round 5. Turned him around, pushed him against the cage. Held him in good positions because he knew he'd won the fight already. Oh my god, I feel like I just came a million times. I'm empty. I'm empty right now. That took my soul. In a great way. Hopefully I get it back at some point, but that fight just saved the entire night, because the entire night was a bit of a shit show. Fouls here and there, boring fights here and there, weird decisions sometimes, weird things here, eye pokes, groin shots, all of this. And that fight just saved the entire card with absolute mayhem and anarchy. And, oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. Even the scrambles, man, Paulo Costa's going to really regret pulling that guillotine in round 4, the retard. Anyway, just saying it. Paulo Costa in round 4 had a guillotine position. Should have just kept north-south and tried to get on the back of Marvin Vettori, but instead he pulls the fucking guillotine, puts himself in side control on bottom, and Marvin Vettori wins that round in round 4 because of it. 49-30 in round 4. I mean, Marvin's great. Marvin is phenomenal. I want to see him fight again. I can't wait to see him fight again. I don't know who he's going to fight next. I think Costa, stay at light heavyweight. I could see him moving down to middleweight, and I'll tell you this, he whoops up Sean Strickland. I'm a huge Sean Strickland fan. I actually think Sean Strickland is my favourite personality of every fighter on the entire roster. Straight up. Paulo Costa, with that upright style of Sean Strickland, with his hands up high, Costa will rip the liver out of him with a kick. He will annihilate Strickland's liver. He will catch him with big punches, and he will put Sean Strickland down and away inside 2 rounds. He can still beat top middleweight contenders. He beats Uriah Hall in a rematch. Dude, he looked better than ever today. He looked like an improving guy, and he is 30 years of age. He's still young, and if he moves up the division, he's got even more time to work on things because they get older and older as the divisions go up. So, Paulo Costa stay at light heavyweight. You're good there. Marvin Vettori, I don't know what you're going to do. Everything's booked up. You've already beaten Hermansson. Your teammates with Sean Strickland, and I doubt Sean Strickland's going to want to wait until, March when Marvin comes back? Don't see Marvin coming back anytime soon. Needs to take a little bit of time off. Maybe come back in March next year. Strickland ain't going to wait that long. He's looking at January at his hometown. He wants to fight in January, but man, there's good matchups to make. Let's maybe do Marvin Vettori versus... I don't even care. He said he's not even focused on the belt right now, but he knows he wants it as his goal at the end of everything. But he said he doesn't even care. I'm not going to get a title shot next. Just give me the toughest matchups. I don't see him waiting for February to fight the loser of Whittaker Adesanya, because they might turn around in August, September, and if Adesanya loses, they're probably going to do a trilogy. I don't see him waiting for the loser of Cannonier versus Brunson, because that's going to be a violent finish either way, in my opinion. So whoever loses that one in January is going to be back in July, August, September. I think Marvin Vettori sits out for a bit and just pick a fight against an upcoming guy. If Edmund Shabazian beats Nassourdine Imavov, he's going to be ranked number 9, number 8. Marvin Vettori will be ranked number 3 in the division. Let's make that fight in March. If, I don't know who else there is. If Rockhold wants Marvin instead of Strickland, I could see them making that matchup happen. Marvin versus Strickland could happen if they want to make Strickland delayed for a very long time, but I don't think he's going to want to be delayed. If Brendan Allen beats Brad Tavares, or if Brad Tavares even beats Brendan Allen and is ranked number 10 or 9 or 8 and Vettori's number 3, take those matchups. You beat those guys. Stay active. Vettori is 28. How did he eat those shots? There were shots landed by Costa. I feel like the commentary was biased. People were saying that in my chat non-stop about the commentary. I have never seen more fight-ending shots landed in a fight ever in my life than Paulo Costa landed on Marvin Vettori. But because he didn't react at all, he was fine. Because he didn't react at all to any of them. The shots Paulo was landing on him. You have to go and watch the fight. If you have watched this video and haven't watched the fight, go and fucking watch it. Head kicks, flush, behind the head. Body kicks, bang, bang, over. Body shots from Paulo Costa. Everything Paulo Costa had. Full power, as hard as he fucking can. Trying to take the head off of Marvin Vettori with those head kicks. Nothing. Eats them, keeps trucking forward. No one's finishing Marvin Vettori in his entire fucking career. I'm calling it right now. He will finish his career unfinished. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. That was the best fight I've seen in a very long time. Goodbye. Toodle pip. See you later.